Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yes.
You know, I'm really excited about this one.
I am too.
We're going to be talking about manifestation today, and we're actually going to kind of be looking at it through a neuroscientific lens. Do this every morning to manifest your dream future. Dr. James Doty.
Yes.
And so, I think a lot of times when we think about manifestation, we kind of think of
the secret.
like the secret, and just like
visualize it and it will come.
Yeah, but Dr. Doty brings in a different perspective, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to kind of dive into this.
Well, one of the things that he says is that, and I'm quoting this, the universe doesn't give a gatter about you. And, that's a little bit jarring, I think, for a lot of people who are used to this idea that, you put it out there and the universe is going to deliver it to you.
Yeah.
But he goes on to say...
Well, and he also says, you're already manifesting your life, but is it the life that you want?
Right.
So he kind of gives you that little jolt, but then he's also saying like, hey, you're already
doing it anyway.
It.
So you might as well take control of it.
Right.
But he also talks about how... he went after all these material goals, all the things that you think.
Yeah, like in
you're supposed to go after
Rolex and
the mansion and the yacht.
Yeah.
The millions of dollars.
Yeah, and he said it left him feeling empty.
Absolutely.
Which, I think a lot of people have that experience when they chase after those kind of external.
Yeah, there's a difference between like hedonic happiness, which is, fleeting pleasure.
Right, like having a great meal or something.
A piece of chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Versus eudaimonic happiness, which is that deeper sense of meaning and purpose and fulfillment.
Yeah.
And so that's what he's really getting at.
Right. So I think it's interesting because he's approaching this from a standpoint of being a neuroscientist.
Yeah.
So he's actually like looking at the brain.
Right. He understands how the brain works and how we can actually use these neural networks to manifest what we want. Yeah.
So what are some of those brain networks that he talks about?
Well, he talks about the executive control network, which is like the part of your brain that helps you plan and take action.
Okay.
Then there's the salience network, which is constantly scanning your environment for opportunities that are related to the thing that you're trying to manifest.
Interesting.
And then you've got the attention network, which is focusing on those opportunities and filtering out distractions.
Okay.
And then last but not least is the default mode network, which normally chatters away in the background. Yeah. But when you're deeply focused, it quiets down.
Interesting. So it's like all of these different parts of the brain working together.
Right. It's like an orchestra.
Yeah, to help you.
Yeah, you've got to get them all playing together.
Manifest. Harmony.
Yeah. But that makes me think about focus because I think for a lot of people, it's really hard to focus.
Absolutely.
And he talks about that a lot in this interview.
He does. He says that's one of the biggest challenges, especially in our
now
hyper-distracted world.
Right.
But he suggests starting small.
Okay.
Building tiny positive habits.
Right.
They can create momentum and train your brain to focus on what matters.
Okay.
He also emphasizes the importance of releasing attachment to outcomes.
Okay, so that's a little bit...
Which I know is hard.
Yeah. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah. But he says that being too rigid actually limits the possibilities.
Right.
So you've got to be open. Yeah. So it's not about being super controlling.
No, it's not about micromanaging the universe.
Right.
It's more like planting a seed.
Okay.
And nurturing it and trusting that it will grow in its own time.
So it's more about like setting the intention and then kind of letting it...
Letting go.
Go. Yeah, trust in the process.
Yeah. And he talks about the subconscious being like a bloodhound, like sniffing out opportunities.
That we might miss if we're too focused on one specific outcome.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of let go of that.
Right, a little bit. But what I find is, for me personally, I'm always getting caught up on the limiting beliefs.
Oh, the limiting beliefs?
Yeah, those voices in your head that are always telling you.
We all have them.
Yeah.
You're not good enough.
You can't do it.
You'll never be able to do that.
Right.
And they can really sabotage us.
Totally. Does Dr. Doty have anything to say about limiting beliefs?
He does.
He says whenever we find ourselves being overly critical of ourselves,
Go ahead.
That's a sign of a limiting belief lurking beneath the surface.
But for example, if I'm like, I just did this work and it's terrible.
Right.
I'm a failure.
Well, there you go. What's the limiting belief there?
I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So then what do you do about it?
Well, once you identify it,
okay,
you can start to challenge it.
Okay.
And Dr. Doty is a big advocate for affirmations.
So just like those positive statements that you repeat?
Yes, exactly. He even shares his own affirmation.
Which is
I am worthy.
Interesting.
Which I think is so powerful because a lot of us struggle with those feelings of unworthiness.
Right.
And so it's about...
So like if you start to notice yourself being negative, critical, then you can
flip the script.
Use the affirmation.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
It's about choosing to focus on thoughts that empower us.
Right.
Rather than thoughts that hold us back.
Okay, so we've talked about the neuroscience a little bit. We've talked about, kind of like the mindset. But what about like in practice?
Right.
What does Dr. Doty actually do?
Well, he has a morning routine that he follows.
I want to hear about this.
He starts his day with breathing exercises to activate his parasympathetic nervous system.
So to get him calm and relaxed.
Exactly, to put him in that calm and receptive state.
Okay, so you're not going to manifest from a place of stress.
You can't manifest miracles when you're stressed out of your mind.
Okay, so breathing, and then what?
Then he reflects on things that inspire awe and joy.
Okay.
Just to set a positive emotional tone for the day.
Makes sense.
And then finally he does this practice called the alphabet of the heart.
The alphabet of the heart? What is that?
It's basically a series of qualities that he focuses on, each represented by a letter of the alphabet.
Okay.
So he starts with C for compassion,
okay,
for himself and others. Then D for recognizing the dignity of every person.
Okay.
E for equanimity, F for forgiveness, G for gratitude.
Okay.
And it goes all the way to...
Is it L for love?
L for love. You got it. It's like a roadmap for living a more meaningful and fulfilling life.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah.
So he has this whole like intentional practice around manifestation.
He does. And he also talks about the importance of shifting from this I want mentality to a how can I help mentality.
Yeah, I noticed that throughout the whole interview, he kept coming back to that.
Yeah, he's really adamant about that.
Why is that so important?
He believes that when we focus on how we can be of service to others, we tap into a deeper well of power and abundance.
Interesting.
And he actually shares this amazing story about giving away $30 million.
Wait, he gave away $30 million?
While he was in debt.
What?
Yeah.
He gave away more money than he had.
I know. Crazy, right? But he said it was the best decision he ever made.
Why?
Because it liberated him from the fear and scarcity that was holding him back.
Right.
And he realized that true wealth wasn't about accumulating possessions, but about living a life of purpose and service.
So he's kind of like embodying that whole like abundance mindset.
Yes.
Yeah. And that there's enough to go around.
Exactly. And there's actually scientific evidence to back this up.
Oh, really? What kind of evidence?
Studies have shown that compassion actually improves both physical and mental well-being.
Right. It's like those blue zones.
Yes.
They're always talking about how important connection and community is.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's also the Harvard Longevity Study, which has been running for over 80 years.
Wow.
And they found that close relationships are the single biggest predictor of happiness and longevity.
So by like cultivating compassion and focusing on service,
you're not only helping others, but you're also helping yourself.
Yeah, you're improving your own well-being.
Exactly. It's a win-win.
Yeah. Okay, so before we move on, I have to ask you about Ruth.
Oh, yes, Ruth.
So that's like this mysterious figure from Dr. Doty's past.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about her?
So picture this. Dr. Doty is 12 years old.
Okay.
He's facing some serious challenges. His family is struggling with poverty. His father's battling alcoholism.
Yeah.
His mother's suffering from chronic depression.
Oh, my God.
And he's feeling lost and hopeless, like he has no future.
That's so sad.
And one day he wanders into a magic shop.
A magic house?
Just looking for an escape, a distraction from his difficult reality.
Right.
And that's where he meets Ruth.
Okay.
The owner.
Okay, so she's like a mystical...
She wasn't some kind of mystical guru or anything. She was just a kind, compassionate woman who saw something special in this troubled kid.
I love that.
And she created a safe space for him to open up, to share his struggles without judgment.
It's amazing how just like one person can make such a difference.
Absolutely. And she taught him simple but powerful techniques like how to relax his body, how to focus his mind, how to shift his perspective.
Right.
And that's when she introduced him to the concept of visualization and other manifestation techniques.
So it all started in a magic shop.
It did.
That's amazing.
It makes you wonder how many opportunities for growth and transformation we might be missing out on if we're not open to the unexpected.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, their time together was cut short.
Oh, no. Why?
He actually didn't find out what happened to Ruth until years later when he was writing his first book.
Okay.
And he learned that she had been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh, wow.
And passed away a few years after their meeting.
Oh, that's so sad.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. But in a way, her legacy lives on through Dr. Doty and his work.
Right, because he's now sharing all of this.
Exactly. It's like she planted a seed that continues to blossom and bear fruit.
Yeah, and, speaking of seeds, he talks a lot about releasing attachment to outcome.
It's a big theme.
Right. Throughout the interview.
And it's not about being passive.
Right.
It's just about recognizing that
we can't control everything.
You can't control every aspect, right?
But we can control our intentions.
So it's about setting the intention, taking action.
And then trusting the process. Yeah.
Okay, but what about when things don't go our way?
Right.
We all have those setbacks and disappointments. How do we stay positive?
Well, that's where the concept of dispositional optimism comes in.
Okay, I've never heard of that. What is that?
So it's basically about cultivating a deep-seated belief that things will ultimately work out for the best.
Even if you don't know how?
Even if we don't understand how or why in the moment.
Okay, so it's not about denying the challenges or pretending that everything's perfect.
Right.
It's just having that underlying belief. It's all gonna...
That we can navigate the ups and downs.
Right.
And come out stronger on the other side. Yeah, okay, so that's the mindset part. But what about practical techniques?
Okay.
We've talked about the neuroscience, we've talked about the mindset. But how do we actually put this into practice?
Right.
What techniques does Dr. Doty recommend?
Well, one technique he emphasizes is visualization.
Okay.
But not just the casual daydreaming kind.
Okay.
He stresses the importance of making it as vivid and multisensory as possible.
So it's not just about seeing it in your mind's eye, but about really feeling it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Engaging all your senses. Sight, sound, touch. Smell, even taste.
Wow.
To create an immersive experience that feels real to your brain.
Okay, so if you were trying to manifest
Let's say you want to publish a best-selling novel.
Okay.
Okay, so don't just picture the book on a shelf.
Okay.
Imagine yourself at a book signing.
Yep.
Feeling the weight of the book in your hands.
Okay.
Hearing the buzz of the crowd.
Okay.
Smelling the fresh ink on the pages.
I like that.
Really immerse yourself in that experience.
Yeah, make it real.
Make it real for your brain.
I like that. What other techniques does he talk about?
Another key practice he mentions is writing down your intentions.
Okay.
And he's not talking about typing it on your phone or computer. He's talking about actually putting pen to paper.
Okay.
He believes that helps solidify the intention in your subconscious mind.
Interesting.
He also recommends reading your intentions aloud.
Oh, okay.
Both silently to yourself and out loud to further reinforce them.
So it's you're really putting it out there.
You're sending a clear message to the universe and to yourself about what you're committed to creating.
What else?
He also reminds us that manifestation isn't a one-time event.
Okay.
It's an ongoing process.
Right.
It requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to adapt and adjust as needed.
So you're not going to get it perfect the first time?
No, it's not about achieving some kind of perfect state where everything goes exactly according to plan.
Yeah.
Setbacks and disappointments are part of the journey. The key is to view them as opportunities for growth and learning.
Okay.
Rather than as proof that we're failures or that the universe is against us.
Which is hard to do.
I know it is.
When you're in the midst of it.
It is. But remember, Dr. Doty himself faced incredible challenges, from poverty and a difficult childhood to financial ruin later in life.
Yeah.
But each time he found a way to pick himself up, dust himself off, and come back even stronger.
So it's he's living proof that this stuff works.
He is. He's walking the talk.
So now that he's achieved this level of success,
right?
What is his life like now?
Well, he's still actively using these principles in his work and personal life.
So he's not just sitting on a beach somewhere?
No. He's not manifesting endless margaritas.
Yeah.
He's still setting goals.
Yep.
He's still working on projects. He's still striving to make a positive impact on the world.
Okay.
But he approaches it all with a balance of intention and flexibility.
So it's like he's setting that clear intention.
Yes.
But then he's also
letting go.
Letting go and allowing the universe to kind of like co-create.
Exactly. He shared a fascinating anecdote about a time when he was working on a project and he was feeling stuck.
Okay.
And he was at a coffee shop, deeply focused on this problem, and he overheard a conversation.
Oh, no, don't tell me it was like exactly what he needed to hear.
It was directly related to what he was working on.
That's crazy.
And he ended up connecting with the people at that table.
Wow.
And they're now collaborating on the project together.
It's like the universe.
It's like the universe is dropping a solution right into his lap.
Yeah. It's like when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Exactly. Yeah. It makes you wonder how many opportunities we might be missing because we're too focused on our own limited perspective.
Right. So he's talking about being open to synchronicities.
Yes. Those meaningful coincidences that seem to guide us along the path.
Yeah. What about those of us who are still struggling to figure out what we want to manifest?
You know, like we're feeling lost and directionless.
Yeah. What if you don't even know where to begin?
Yeah. Does he have any advice for that?
He does.
What does he say?
He suggests that even if we don't have a specific goal in mind, we can still harness the power of manifestation by focusing on how we can be of service to others.
So instead of like, what do I want?
Yes.
It's how can I help?
Exactly. He believes that by aligning our actions with a spirit of service, we naturally attract the people, the resources, and the opportunities that align with our soul's purpose.
It takes the pressure off.
It does.
Of having to have it all figured out.
You don't have to have all the answers.
Yeah.
You just have to show up with a kind heart and a willingness to help.
And trust that the rest will unfold.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Trust the process.
Okay, I like that.
He encourages us to view life as an adventure.
Yeah.
To embrace the unknown and to trust that we're exactly where we need to be in this moment. One more question for you.
Okay.
So Dr. Doty talks about how we're all part of this interconnected universe.
We are.
Yeah. And it makes me wonder, if we're all connected in this way, what are we collectively manifesting as a species?
Ooh, that's a big question.
It is a big question.
And honestly, I don't think anyone has a definitive answer.
Right.
But it's definitely something to ponder.
Does Dr. Doty have any thoughts on that?
He does seem to have an optimistic outlook, even in the face of all the challenges we're facing in the world today.
Okay, that's good.
He believes that despite all the darkness and division, there's still an inherent goodness within humanity.
Okay.
He points out that if the majority of people weren't inherently good, society wouldn't function.
Right.
We wouldn't have cooperation, compassion,
right,
or any of the things that make life worth living.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the negativity.
Right.
But there's so much good happening in the world that we often overlook.
Yeah, and he reminds us that we each have a role to play in shaping the future.
We do.
Both individually and collectively.
It's not about passively hoping for the best.
Right.
It's about actively choosing to be a force for good in the world.
I love that.
Yeah.
So it's not just like sit back and hope that it all works out.
No,
it's like
we have to be active participants.
We're co-creating this reality.
With every thought, belief, and action.
Okay. And it's not about being passive, right?
Right. It's not about just like sitting back and hoping for the best.
Right. But it's also not about being super controlling.
Exactly. We can't control everything.
Right.
You know,
we can set the intention.
We can control our intentions.
Take the action and then
trust the process.
And trust the process. Okay.
Yeah, he uses this great analogy of planting a seed.
Okay.
You know, you can nurture it, you can provide the right conditions for growth.
Right.
But you can't force it to sprout on your schedule.
Right. You can't like yell at it to grow.
Exactly. You have to trust in the natural unfolding of things.
Okay, I like that analogy. But what about when things don't go our way?
Right.
Yeah.
The setbacks, the disappointments.
Yeah. How do we stay positive?
Well, that's where this concept of dispositional optimism comes in.
Dispositional optimism. I haven't heard of that. What is that?
So it's basically cultivating a deep-seated belief that things will ultimately work out for the best.
Okay.
Even if we don't understand how or why in the moment.
So it's not about like, you know, being like, oh, everything's fine when it's not.
Right. It's not about denying the challenges or pretending that everything's perfect.
Yeah.
It's about having that underlying faith.
Right, that it's all going to
that we can navigate the ups and downs and come out stronger on the other side.
Okay, I like that. But how do you like get there?
Right, it's a practice.
Yeah.
You know, it's something you have to cultivate over time.
Okay, so we talked about the neuroscience.
Yeah.
We talked about the mindset a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
What about like actual techniques, like in practice? Like what does he recommend?
Well, one technique he emphasizes is visualization.
Okay.
But not just the casual daydreaming kind of. He stresses the importance of making it as vivid and multisensory as possible.
So it's not just about like seeing it in your head. It's about like really feeling it.
It's about engaging all your senses.
Okay.
Sight, sound, touch, smell, even taste.
Wow.
To create an immersive experience that feels real to your brain.
So like if you're trying to manifest like a...
Let's say you want to publish a best-selling novel.
Okay.
Don't just picture the book on a shelf.
Okay.
Imagine yourself at a book signing.
Okay.
Feeling the weight of the book in your hands.
Yeah.
Hearing the buzz of the crowd, smelling the fresh ink on the pages.
Oh, like that.
You know, really immerse yourself in that experience.
Yeah.
Make it real for your brain.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And another key practice he mentions is writing down your intentions.
Okay.
And he's not talking about typing it on your phone or computer.
Right, like actually writing.
Actually putting pen to paper.
Okay. Why is that?
He believes that it helps solidify the intention in your subconscious mind. He also recommends reading your intentions aloud.
Okay.
Both silently to yourself and out loud to further reinforce them.
So it's like you're really putting it out there.
You're sending a clear message to the universe and to yourself.
I like it.
About what you're committed to creating.
Yeah. What else?
He also reminds us that manifestation isn't a one-time event.
Right.
It's an ongoing process that requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to adapt and adjust as needed.
Right. So you're not going to get it perfect the first time.
No, it's not about achieving some kind of perfect state where everything goes exactly according to plan.
Right, because that never happens.
It never happens.
Right.
You know, setbacks and disappointments are part of the journey.
They are.
You know, the key is to view them as opportunities for growth and learning.
Right.
Rather than as proof that we're failures.
Right, or that the universe is against us.
Exactly.
Which can be hard.
It is hard.
Especially when you're in it.
Yeah, but remember, Dr. Doty himself faced incredible challenges.
Yeah, he did.
From poverty and a difficult childhood to financial ruin later in life. But each time he found a way to pick himself up, dust himself off, and come back even stronger.
So it's like he's really like walking the talk.
He is.
Yeah, he's like proof that this stuff works.
He's living proof.
So now that he's achieved, you know, this level of success and recognition.
Right.
Like, what is his life like now?
Well, he's still actively using these principles in his work and personal life.
Okay, so he's not like...
He's not just sitting on a beach somewhere manifesting endless margaritas.
Okay, good. I was hoping that wasn't the case.
No, he's still setting goals. He's still working on projects. He's still striving to make a positive impact on the world. But he approaches it all with a balance of intention and flexibility.
So he's setting the intention.
Yes.
But then he's also
letting go
and allowing the universe to kind of like co-create with him.
Exactly.
He was talking about being open to synchronicities.
Yes, those meaningful coincidences that seem to guide us along the path. Yeah.
But if you had to like sum it up, what's like the one key takeaway that you hope people walk away with?
Well, you know, I think the biggest thing is that manifestation isn't this like magical force outside of ourselves.
Right.
You know, it's
not like a genie in a bottle.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't just rub the lamp and make a wish.
Right.
It's a process of aligning our inner and outer worlds, you know?
Right.
Using the power of our minds to shape our reality.
And it's not about like getting more stuff.
No, it's not about accumulating more possessions.
Right.
It's about living a life that feels
meaningful
and aligned with our values.
Right. So it's about connecting with those values.
Yeah, exactly. Cultivating compassion for ourselves and others, and then using our unique gift to make a positive impact on the world.
And like you said, it all starts with those small steps.
Yes. You know, building those tiny habits.
Yeah.
Replacing negative self-talk with those positive affirmations.
Right.
Incorporating practice like his morning routine.
Yeah, just showing up each day and like choosing
to focus on thoughts and actions that empower us.
Uplift others.
And uplift others.
Small steps, big impact.
Yeah. I love that.
Me too.
Yeah.
But we also want to hear from you guys.
Yes.
You know what resonated with you most from this deep dive?
What are you inspired to manifest?
Yeah, what are you inspired to manifest?
In your own life.
Yeah, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, keep this conversation going.
Because, as Dr. Doty says,
you are the universe.
What will you manifest?
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.